Hi friends, welcome to another deck share. This is the Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck. So I'm going to be honest, this is not my typical preferred illustration. I typically go more for the modern, for the abstract, for the angular. I don't typically go toward this, for lack of a better term, fantasy type style. It really just isn't my thing. But I've seen several people that I respect their practice, and I've noticed that these are a really good tool to use in chakra work. So I thought because of that, I would give this deck a go. So I've already unboxed this myself. I did a reading for myself, and I was kind of surprised at how, as I put it to a friend of mine, how this deck really just read my book. And I'm excited to work with it personally and to integrate it into my Reiki practice. And I came today to go ahead and shoot this video because my intention is to work this into the readings that I'm doing today. And I wanted to have this flip through for those of you that this is a deck I read for you for today. So in case you're new to me and how I practice, I offer distance Reiki, and at the end of that practice, I draw a card. So today, I'm going to introduce these into my professional practice. So this deck, the story behind this deck was the creator, Tori Hartman, had a series of visions, and she referred to them as fairy tales. And once she organized these together, they fit within the chakra system. And she decided to share her wisdom, her experience with us. So the guidebook, it tells her story. It tells how to use the cards, how to meditate with the cards. And then it's organized by chakras. And then there is a legend, an inspiration, a series of questions, key ideas, keywords, and meditations for each card. Now, I haven't read this whole guidebook yet. I've read the cards that I drew, and I really like it. I love that the cards are flexible enough to be intuitive. There's enough of a picture in the cards themselves for it to be an intuitive reading. But if you want to go deeper into, it's beautiful, into her intention behind the deck, that option is here for you. And then in the back, there are a series of different layouts for you to try. And I'm really surprisingly curious about this deck. So the card backings here are beautiful. We have the seeker along the path with the crystals representing the chakras. And I love how the sun is at the end of the journey to show like the culmination of the work and all of the chakras. I also love how our little seeker here reminds me a lot of the hermit and has the lantern guiding themselves forward. And what I love about the imagery of a lantern is this reminder that you don't have to see the whole path. As long as you can see your next step, you'll get where you're going. So the back of these cards already give me an uplift and an inspiration and really make me want to know these cards better. So they are organized by chakra. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and gray. And let's give the deck a flip through. We have renewal, soulmates, perfection. And I love in this cards, so she has inspiration left. She's holding some inspiration and then sharing that wisdom out. Then there's another figure inside her, or is her voice outside? I love the complexity in this card. Complacency. So these cards show both the strength of a healthy chakra and the imbalances that happen when the chakras are out of alignment. Insecurity, discovery, acceptance. Moving into the sacral chakra, service, self-worth, passion, guilt, impasse, perseverance, completion. And then we move into the solar plexus with miracle. That's a beautiful card. Enlightenment. Joy. Prayer. Dissipating. Facade. And abundance. Moving into now both the strengths and the challenges of the heart. Victim, gossip, perception, growth, grief, trickery, and wisdom. Moving into the throat, bittersweet, isolation, workaholic, vanity, expansion, impatience. Look how beautiful this card is. And quest. The third eye, despondence, mysticism, faith, gratitude, forgiveness, recovery, and balance. The crown chakra brings us impartiality, rejection, release, instinct, destiny, confusion, and creation. So I'll do a short 3-card reading for us today, just to see how these cards feel in a reading, because they are new to me. I'll probably give the guidebook a go so we can get a full experience of the creator's intention for this deck. As I get cards everywhere, as I shuffle, I think of us as individuals, I think of us as a collective. I trust that we will each receive this reading at the time it is needed for us, and that no matter what comes up, there's room for reflection for each of us, and maybe, just maybe, an epiphany for one of us. So when I do a 3-card reading, the first card represents presence. So who we are today, what we're bringing to the table. The second card represents what's crossing our path, the invitation that is being brought to us, that we get to decide how we want to interact with. And then the third card in the series is our guidance, what we use to lean further and to process further and to experience further who we are in the invitation. So the first thing I notice is who we are is rooted and both the invitation and the guidance are both in the crown chakra, are both in our connection to source. So there's this base of the chakra system and tippy top of the chakra system. So for me, then that just says that everything in between is important. Everything in between has to be addressed, but where we're being called to focus is in the root and the crown. So let's check in with the guidebook. So for who we are, what's in our present, what we're bringing to the table, we have perfection. This is called Righteous Raspberry. Raspberry needs no makeup to accentuate her exquisite features, but she wears it anyway. She is a perfectionist. She speaks the truth. Sometimes this truth is curt. Sometimes she's avoided because of her honesty. She spends time with elderberry that teaches her how to be honest without cruelty. So, are you being too hard on yourself and others? Begin to look for what's good and right and just in the world. So, where you are today, the present that you're being invited to look at is this sense of perfection, of expecting yourself to be perfect, of expecting others to be perfect, and maybe vocalizing that a little too much. How is your voice causing separation between you and others, and also between your highest self and your current self? Looking at how your sense of perfection impedes, gets in the way of your relationships. So the invitation that's coming is confusion. This piece is called Silver Cloud. Every silver lining has a cloud. So the legend, Jana climbs Face Mountain in the dense fog. I'm wondering if she made the correct decision. The silver cloud surrounds her. It's cold and scary, but she keeps climbing. She reaches the summit. The fog cleared. She journeyed much further than she realized. Can I see confusion as a good thing? Can I learn to let go of needing an immediate outcome? So I hadn't noticed originally, but the confusion, the cloud here, this gray cloud is actually holding her. And this is a kind, curious face. And there's a lot of resistance. So this I see truly as leaning into the confusion, being okay with not having the answers, doing the hard thing even if you don't know exactly where you're going, but trusting in your next right step and trusting in the view that will come at the summit. So who we are, sometimes we let our voice get in the way of our connection with ourselves and others. Our invitation is to let confusion be confusion, to not expect ourselves to have all of the answers. And then how we do this, the guidance for examining our perfection and leaning into our confusion, the guidance for this is destiny. And this piece is called Black and White. Together we are stronger than alone. Black and white are in heaven, waiting to go back to earth to complete their work. They fall in love, but know they won't be together on earth. They appeal to the council of great spirits, and they're permitted to be together on earth. So the questions are, what tools do I need to form my own destiny? And am I ready for my destiny? So this is about asking for what you want. Not just assuming that things won't work out. Not just assuming that you can't have what you want, but asking for it. Using your voice, using your power of request instead of your power to only accept what is perfect, to not assume that only perfect is good, to not assume that only clarity is good, but to ask for what you want, to make your own destiny. This card is not about just blind acceptance and stepping into and accepting your lot. This is about asking for more. Asking for clarity, asking, whether that be a plea to the divine, whether this be a plea to your boss, whether this be a plea to your spouse, whether this just be a question to your kid. This doesn't have to be this big, massive endeavor. So what I love about the cards is you get to apply this to your own situation. Is this about something small, like do I make dinner or order out? Or is this a bigger set of information about your career or your relationships? You get to see how this applies to your life. So in review, what we're being presented with, what we're currently sitting in, is this stuckness in perfection, expecting perfection of ourselves and from others. The invitation that's coming is to allow ourselves to be confused, to allow ourselves to not have all the answers, and to continue on our path anyway. And finally, the guidance and how we interact with these two challenges is to be an active participant in your destiny, to examine your expectations of yourself and others and react, to examine your relationship with confusion, with needing to know and react, but also ask, converse, don't assume. Take an active role in your expectations all the way around. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like an individual read, I do a single card draw in every distance Reiki session. I also do a single card draw in our moon circles that we do twice a month on the full moon and on the new moon. And you can find both of these on my website. That's linked down below, but it is theyogastill.com. Have a great day, and I'll see you all soon.